Somewhere, right now, someone is being named after a corpse, not metaphorically, literally. In some cultures, when a person died, their name didn't disappear. It waited for the next child born into the family, and then it was placed back onto a new breathing body, like a debt being repaid across generations. You were not born, you were reinstalled. And before you laugh that off as ancient superstition, ask yourself something uncomfortable. Do you actually know why you were named what you were named? Because for most of human history, a name wasn't a preference, it was a spell. Today, naming a baby feels simple. You scroll a list. You pick something that sounds nice, something trendy, something that just felt right. But for thousands of years, naming a child wasn't about sound, it was about survival. In many ancient societies, a name wasn't just identity, it was protection. It was prophecy. It was a message sent directly to forces no one could see, but everyone feared. Because ancient people didn't just fear death, they feared attention. The wrong kind of attention. From spirits, from gods, from fate itself. And a name was the first thing that could attract it. In parts of West Africa, some children weren't named for days, sometimes weeks, after birth. Why the delay? Because infant mortality was terrifyingly high, and some cultures believed that if a spirit hadn't yet decided to claim the child, giving it a name too early might make it a target, a being worth taking. So they waited, they watched, they let the child prove silently that it intended to stay in this world. Only then did it earn a name. Think about that for a second. A name wasn't a gift, it was permission. But that wasn't the strangest part. In certain regions of ancient India and East Asia, families intentionally gave newborns ugly names, names meaning trash, dirt, unwanted, not out of cruelty, out of strategy. They believed spirits hunted for the most beautiful, most valuable sounding children to steal. So parents lied to the universe. They disguised their most precious child as garbage. A name became a decoy, a survival tactic whispered into a soul before it could even understand language. Imagine that. Before you could speak, cry properly, or open your eyes to focus, your parents were already fighting an invisible war on your behalf. And this is where things get unsettling, because it wasn't only about protecting a child. Sometimes, it was about controlling their fate. In ancient Rome, names weren't just chosen, they were assigned by order. Daughters often didn't even get unique names. They were literally numbered. First daughter, second daughter. A name didn't celebrate identity, it confirmed placement. You weren't born to become someone. You were born to fill a role that already existed before you did. And in some Norse and Germanic traditions, names were split into pieces, like puzzle fragments from ancestors, reassembled to summon the traits, luck, or spirit of a deceased relative into the newborn. You weren't just named after your grandfather. You were, in a spiritual sense, continuing him, wearing his echo, carrying pieces of a dead man's identity forward into a body he never lived in. This is where the discomfort really begins, because if a name can carry someone else's essence, what part of you is actually new? But here's the part almost nobody talks about. Naming wasn't only spiritual, it was political. In ancient hierarchical societies, naming a child could instantly define their entire future, long before they took a single breath of free will. Royal names carried expectation, obligation, destiny. Slave names in brutal historical systems were sometimes deliberately stripped of identity altogether, erasing heritage, erasing lineage, erasing self, replacing it with something owned. A name given by someone else, chosen for control, not connection. This wasn't just naming a person, this was engineering one. And suddenly the question isn't, how did ancient people name babies? The question becomes far darker. How much of your identity did you actually choose? Now here's the part that will sit with you long after this video ends. In many cultures, Chinese, Yoruba, Hawaiian, and others, names weren't fixed for life. People were renamed. After trauma, after achievement, after illness, after a spiritual awakening. If your life changed dramatically, your name was expected to change too. Because ancient people understood something modern society quietly forgot. You are not the same person your whole life. We now keep the same name from birth to death, even as we transform completely. Grieve, evolve, break down, rebuild. We carry a single label through 100 different versions of ourselves. But ancient people? They let the name catch up to the person, and this is where the real revelation hits. This isn't really a video about ancient baby names. It's about identity itself. Because a name was never just a sound. It was humanity's first attempt to answer an impossible question. Who are you before you've had the chance to become anyone? Ancient people didn't have therapy. They didn't have psychology textbooks, but they understood something deeply intuitive. That identity isn't neutral. It's shaped, it's inherited, it's protected, disguised, engineered, sometimes stolen, and the terrifying truth is, that hasn't changed. You may not fear spirits stealing your child today, but you still whisper affirmations into your kids to shape who they'll become. You still choose names hoping they'll carry destiny, strength, memory, meaning. You still, in quiet, unconscious ways, are doing exactly what ancient humans did thousands of years ago, trying to protect a soul with a sound. So ask yourself the question this video was always leading to. If a name can carry the essence of the dead, if a name can disguise you from danger, if a name can define your role before you're even born, if a name can be stripped away to erase who you are, then a name was never just identification. It was the first fiction ever written about your life, before you had any say in the story. Somewhere in the past, someone whispered a word into your family's history, a word chosen to protect you, control you, disguise you, or resurrect someone else through you. And you have carried that word every single day since, without ever questioning where it truly came from. So the next time someone says your name, ask yourself the question ancient humans never dared say out loud. Is that name protecting me? Or still deciding who I'm allowed to become?